So what about Deuteronomy chapter 24? If you read Deuteronomy chapter 24, it sounded like Moses was permitting people to divorce their wives. That's exactly what it sounds like if you read Deuteronomy chapter 24 from verse 1 to verse 4. But that is a mistranslation. It's a pure mistranslation. Somebody asked me about this, and they were basically saying that according to Deuteronomy chapter 24, Moses was permitting people to divorce their wives, and that it's okay for a woman to go after she loses her virginity to a man, it's okay for her to go and marry another man, according to Deuteronomy chapter 24. But that is not so. That's not so, because what you read in Deuteronomy chapter 24, in the King James Version, it was a mistranslation. It was a pure mistranslation. And I'm going to quickly give you reasons why it's a mistranslation. When you read Deuteronomy chapter 24, from verse 1 to verse 4, in the King James Version, possibly in other translations, it clearly gives you the impression that a man can divorce his wife, and also it gives you the impression that a woman can go and marry another man after she has been divorced by her husband. But again, it's a mistranslation. That was a pure mistranslation. Reason number one, if you read in Deuteronomy chapter 22, verse 29, verse 28 and verse 29, as you already saw, according to Deuteronomy chapter 22, verse 28 and verse 29, and Deuteronomy chapter 22, verse 13 and 21, you can clearly see that according to Moses, according to the law of our Creator, the things that Moses wrote down was not Moses' opinion. The laws you read in the scriptures is not opinion of Moses. Those laws was given to us by our Creator. He simply chose Moses as a prophet to give us those laws. So according to the scriptures, so Moses was chosen as a prophet to transmit those laws to us. So Moses cannot tell you in Deuteronomy chapter 22, verse 28 and verse 29, and also in Deuteronomy chapter 22, verse 13 and verse 21, he cannot tell us that when a man marries a woman and takes her virginity, first of all, a woman must be a virgin, as you already know. Before you marry her, she's either a virgin or a widow. So Moses cannot tell us specifically that that woman automatically becomes your wife as long as you are alive all your days. As he said, that woman becomes your wife for all the days of your life. You cannot put her away. She cannot marry any other person. So Moses cannot tell us that. And then he turns around in Deuteronomy chapter 24 and then says that it's okay for a man to divorce his wife, or that it's okay for a woman who has been divorced to go and marry another man. That is a big contradiction. But the problem is that it was a mistranslation that was primarily done in the King James Version, and then the rest of other translations copied this. I will highly recommend that you study this yourself. I have spent time studying this, and you can clearly see that it's a mistranslation, because again, Moses cannot tell you that a woman becomes your wife all the days of your life. For the rest of your life, she becomes your wife, and you cannot put her away, and she cannot marry any other person. And then Moses will turn around in chapter 24 of Deuteronomy and then tells you that you can put her away by giving her a letter of divorce. That is a contradiction, but it's actually not a contradiction because it's just a mistranslation. You have to remember that the Torah, the scriptures, was written in Hebrew, and the ones you read in English was translated from Hebrew to English by English people, by the British people. The Hebrew language was not their native tongue. Hebrew language was not their native language. So there's a lot of mistranslations in the King James versions, but I'm not going to go into that. The truth is that Moses was not asking people to put away their wives or he wasn't suggesting that a woman who has been divorced or who has been put away can go and marry whoever she chooses. No, that's not so, because we can see this in the New Testament in Corinthians, 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 10 and verse 11, and also 1 Corinthians chapter 7 verse 39, and also in Romans chapter 7 verse 1 to 3. You can clearly see that a woman is supposed to remain the wife of the man she lost her virginity to, as long as that man is alive. If she goes and marries someone else, she commits adultery. So what you read in Deuteronomy chapter 24, it's a mistranslation. Moses was not asking people to divorce their wives by simply giving her a bill of divorcement. And also, he wasn't asking women to go and marry whoever they chooses because their husband gave them a bill of divorcement. That's not what Moses was saying. This was a pure mistranslation. You will also see this in the New Testament. If you go to Matthew chapter 5, verse 31 to verse 32, you will see that Christ said in Matthew chapter 5, verse 31 to verse 32, he said, "It has been said, whosoever shall put away his wife, let him give her a written of divorcement. But I say unto you, that whosoever shall put away his wife, saving for cause of fornication, causeth her to commit adultery. And whosoever shall marry her that is divorced, committed adultery." So according to Christ in Matthew chapter 5, verse 31 to verse 32, according to Christ, first of all, he said that it has been said that whosoever wants to put away his wife should give her a written of divorcement. But I say unto you that whoever divorces his wife causes her to commit adultery, and whoever marries the divorced woman commits adultery. That's exactly what Christ said. So in order for you to understand Deuteronomy chapter 24, you have to read Matthew chapter 5, verse 31 to verse 32, and you will clearly see that there is no law that came from our Creator that suggests that a man can divorce his wife for any reason, or that a woman can leave her husband and go and marry another man simply because she's been divorced. There's no law like that in the entire Torah, in the entire law of Moses. The thing you read in Deuteronomy chapter 24 is a mistranslation. The only reason why you can put away your wife is if she goes and commits adultery. According to Matthew chapter 5, verse 31 to verse 32, if she goes and commits fornication, meaning that if she goes and has sex with another man, then at that point, you cannot have sex with her again. So if you marry a woman and she was a widow at the time you married her, or she was a virgin at the time you married her, then she is your wife. But if she goes and has sex with another man, if she goes and commits adultery with another man, then automatically she's defiled. She's absolutely defiled, and you cannot take her back. You cannot have sex with her. That's exactly what Moses was saying in Deuteronomy chapter 24. That's exactly what Moses was saying. If a woman leaves her husband and goes and has sex with another man, her husband cannot take her back because she's defiled. And if you take her back and you have sex with her, you are committing an abomination because that woman has been defiled. You cannot take her back. Actually, she has committed an abomination, and that's a death sentence right there. She is supposed to be put to death for committing adultery. But you need two witnesses. You need two witnesses in order to prove that a woman have committed adultery. You can't just say that a woman committed adultery just because you have a feeling or just because somebody told you so. No, you need two witnesses, at least two witnesses, to prove that she committed adultery. And if she truly committed adultery by laying with another man, then automatically you cannot put your penis in her vagina ever again. You cannot do that because she is defiled. And that's exactly what Moses wrote down in Deuteronomy chapter 24, verse 1 to verse 4. That's exactly what Moses was saying. Moses was not encouraging people or permitting people to divorce their wife in Deuteronomy chapter 24, verse 1 to 4. It was a pure mistranslation if you study it out yourself. And also, if you look at the other scriptures that I've pointed out, you will clearly see there's no way Moses will ask you to, will tell you that a woman becomes your wife for the rest of your life and that you can put her away. And then he turns around in Deuteronomy chapter 24 and tells you to put her away. It was a pure mistranslation that happened from King James Version and then spread to the other translations. And you remember, whoever you lose your virginity to, whoever you lost your virginity to, that man is your husband. And if you are a man and you're living with a woman and you are not the man that took her virginity, and the man she lost her virginity is still alive, then she is not your wife. Each time you have sex with her, you are violating God's commandment and you will be destroyed. You are being warned right now. You are being warned. There's not going to be any excuse. There's not going to be any excuse on this particular thing. You need to repent. You need to get rid of her. If you're living with a woman and she's not the one you lost, you're not the one she lost her virginity to, you need to get rid of her. She is not your wife. Get rid of her. Let her go. If you are a woman and you're living with a man and he is not the one you lost your virginity to, and the one you lost your virginity is still alive, you need to leave that man alone. He is not your husband. You can deceive yourself all you want. He is not your husband. You have been warned. If you continue having sex with him or her, you will be destroyed. You are committing adultery. You will be destroyed. You need to move on. Go and look for the man you lost your virginity to. He is your husband. And if you are a man, go and find a virgin and marry. So that you can, it doesn't benefit you to live in pleasure and ignore all the laws and the commandment of God. Ignore his commandment and live in pleasure and be destroyed and find yourself in hellfire, or find yourself get caught up here and will not be raptured out or will not be delivered when all this judgment of God begins, according to Isaiah chapter 24, verse 1 to 6. So it's better to keep God's laws and the commandment and be a single man and make it into the coming kingdom of heaven, because his kingdom is coming. Look around you. Look at the world. Look at the world. The world is going to hell. Look at the world. Things are not getting better. Things are getting worse. Just like he says in Matthew chapter 24, things are getting worse every day. And God's judgment is coming, and he will punish those that refuse to keep his laws and his commandments. So whoever you lost your virginity to is your husband. If the person you have as your wife, if she was not a virgin, she is not your wife. I want to thank you so much for watching this video. If you have any question or any comment, feel free to comment below the video. Look around in my channel. I have other videos that you may find of interest. You can feel free to subscribe to this channel so that when I upload a new video, you will be notified by YouTube. I thank you so much for watching, and I wish you well as you go and study these things. Please study this yourself. I wish you well as you study this, and I hope that you strive to keep his commandment and look forward to his coming kingdom, because his kingdom is coming. The kingdom of Christ is coming, and he will set up his kingdom here on earth. But until then, those who refuse to keep the commandment, they will be destroyed. And I don't want you to be among those people. You need to start keeping his laws and his commandment. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I wish you well as you wait for his coming kingdom.